How's it going, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my NFL 2025 Week 1 4 key game picks. Finally, the regular season is here, and obviously there's so many question marks that I did ask in my two videos that I created before with talking about the AFC and the NFC. A lot of questions are the Eagles going to repeat as Super Bowl champions this year? Will the Chiefs get some sort of retribution and win the Super Bowl again? Could we see some newcomers finally make it to the big show? A lot of question marks, and of course some player movements that went on during the offseason. Obviously, Michael Parsons going to Green Bay. A lot of player movement around, and obviously that was more of the bigger story before the start of the regular season. But a lot went on. It's too much to cover. I mean, it's its own segment, and I really wish I could get into more about this and all that. But obviously, I want to get into my Week 1 picks. Now, Week 1 is really the toughest week to do because the season has started, and it's hard to kind of pick out who's going to win the first game of the regular season. And given the schedule for week number 1 is probably maybe one of the best we've seen, probably the best Week 1 matchups we've had probably in years. A lot of them are divisional play. A lot of them are divisional games, and some that are interconference games. This was tough to pick out 4 key games this week because some of them do deserve some attention. But what I'm about to talk about here, I personally feel this week is the games that probably will get the most attention and the most focus on. Other than that, let's talk about week number 1, shall we? As we get set for the season opener on Thursday night between the Cowboys and the Eagles. And that is going to be the first key game I'm going to talk about. Key game number 1, it is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are a 7.5-point favorite, and I would say that's right. That is about right. The loss of Michael Parsons for the Dallas Cowboys really took a huge hit defensively for them, and I know the Eagles did lose some key players in the offseason to free agency, and some players, obviously, during preseason suffered some small setback in injuries. But this is the kind of game you want. If you're a Cowboys fan, I don't even know if you want to watch Thursday night's game. Obviously, you want to see what the Cowboys are going to do without Michael Parsons. I look at this football game. Normally, I give quarterback stats every game I talk about, basically stats from the previous games and all that. But because it's week number 1, I'm just going to throw in mostly my personal opinions of why I think which team is going to win. This is really hard for the Dallas Cowboys. Defensively, they've taken a huge hit, and at the same time, too, they have it's going to be hard for them to get good pass rush, given the Eagles still have a good amount of their offensive line from their Super Bowl run last year. And the way I look at this football game, this game could be competitive, but the way I look at it right now, this game's got blowout written all over it here. Because if Dallas had any sort of defense and all that, maybe I would make this game could be much closer, and the odds probably would be a lot more lower than what they currently have at 7.5. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles here. They're going to win their home opener here. They're favorites to win they're favorites to win in the NFC East. Most of the team that they had from their Super Bowl run is still there. They did lose a couple of players to free agency, but it's going to be really hard for Dallas to stop the tush push. It's going to be hard to stop Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts may not have to play all that well to win this game, because given that they have a running game and a damn good offensive line, it's going to be way too much for the Cowboys in this game. Way too much for the Cowboys to conquer in this game. This is kind of an easy pick here. I'm going with you take the Eagles minus 7.5 on this one here. I'm going to go with that. That should be an obvious pick for a lot of people. If you're going to pick a winner in this game, the Eagles should beat the Cowboys here. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a blowout, but you never know if this game could be much closer than anticipated. But the Eagles are the better team in this football game. You got to go with the Eagles over the Cowboys. All right, key game number 2, going into the AFC West. It is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers. The game is in São Paulo, Brazil. It's one of the international games is going to be played this year in the NFL. This is the second year they're doing this in Brazil. The Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite, even though the Chargers are the designated home team in this one here, which really, look, I'm a Chargers fan. Since when do the Chargers have home field advantage? Even in their own home field. But jokes aside here, the defending AFC champions are a 3.5-point favorite, and I would say that's about right. I don't know if the Chiefs will finally look a lot more vulnerable as they did in Super Bowl embarrassment they suffered in the hands of the Eagles. But really, the fact that you got Worthy, you still have Pacheco, Travis Kelce's coming back for at least one more year. Look, the Chiefs have the offense, and Spagnuolo's still going to try to do. I mean, he's still a good mastermind in terms of defense. When I look at the Chargers, it's really put up or shut up time now for Justin Herbert, because he's in the last 2 NFL seasons, he's been the number 1 quarterback that has been sacked more than any other quarterback in the league. And that is embarrassing. And I don't really know if the Chargers have solved their offensive line problems, because that's going to be one of my huge question marks going into the season. And they already lost one of their offensive linemen for the season, which is a big loss for them, because he's really the Chargers cannot afford any more injuries in the offensive line, because they're trying to do their best to protect Justin Herbert. Obviously they got to get the running game going in this football game, and and Justin Herbert's got to trust his wide receivers. I want the Chargers to win as a fan, but I got to be reasonable and be honest with myself. The Chiefs are slightly the better team in this one here. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs here. The Chiefs will beat the Chargers here. I think this game will be close. The Chiefs and Chargers, a lot of these football games in the last 5 NFL seasons, they've had some close games. But it just seems like the Chiefs always have the better end of it. The Chargers haven't beaten the Chiefs in 3 years. They haven't beaten the Chiefs in about 3-4 seasons already. The last one I think was in Arrowhead. That was like during the 2021 or 22 season, one of those 2 seasons. Yeah. Since then, the Chiefs have had the Chargers number, and Jim Harbaugh needs to find a way to get this football team going. The Chargers cannot afford to start off bad, even though their schedule looks like they could go 1-3 if they don't fix some things immediately. The Chiefs should beat the Chargers here. The Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite. I agree with that, and I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one here over the Chargers. It pains me to say that. Key game number 3, going into the NFC North. It is the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are a 2.5-point favorite. That number might go down to maybe 2, maybe 1.5 before kickoff. Let's see the addition of Michael Parsons does for that defense. It should really help the secondary a lot. And that is one of the things they really had struggled with defensively, was the secondary. They're a young core, and the Packers are definitely, during my other NFC picks video, I have them winning the division. But you can't really rule out the Detroit Lions given the talent they have on that team. You have with Goff, and then you have Sonic and Knuckles, which AKA is Gibbs and Montgomery, and of course the defense on the defensive side, you have Hutchinson and Anzalone. This is going to be a very close football game. It's going to be a very hard-fought football game between these 2 teams. This has become a bitter rivalry now. Normally, Packers are more with the Bears. That's really their rivalry between. But it seems to me these last few games between the Lions and the Packers, they've really been heated. This has been a brand new rivalry between these 2 teams here. It's been very competitive in the last few seasons. But on the offensive side for Green Bay, though, can Jordan Love stay healthy? Can the wide receivers get going? And can they get that running game? Can the running game still be established like they did last season? A lot of question marks going in for Green Bay, even with the addition of Michael Parsons defensive-wise. They drafted a wide receiver in the draft, and this is a talented young football team that should be favorites in their own division. And who knows if they can make but that's too far down the line. Look, in this football game, I'm going with the Packers here. I just think for a couple of things. With Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson now going to get head coaching jobs, and it's going to be big-time question marks for Dan Campbell and his coordinators, how well they can keep this thing going with the talent they have on that team. I'm picking Green Bay here. I think Green Bay is slightly better given what they've done in the offseason. It's going to be a very hard-fought football game for sure. It's going to be a good one in Lambeau. It's a good start to week one for both these two teams, but I'm picking the Packers here. I think the Packers are slightly better than the Lions. The Lions better find a way to win this football game because really, if they want to keep proving themselves as a Super Bowl contender, they gotta beat their arch rival. But I just think the Packers are slightly better in this game. Tough to say. It's a tough pick. It's a 50-50 toss-up here. So I'm picking the Packers over the Lions. You really can't go wrong with either pick here. Packers over the Lions. In key game number 4, the Sunday night game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are a slight 1.5-point favorite and expect that number to go down to 1, maybe 1, and who knows if it could go to you pick 'em status. Big question marks for the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of it is on Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry to get that offense more stabilized. And obviously, besides their offense, now the question relies more on their defense here. Their defense was really one of their Achilles heels last season. And look, in all honesty, a rematch of the divisional round from the prior season, it was a hard-fought football game, and the Ravens almost tied the game. They almost tied the game. They could have taken the lead, but they didn't. The Ravens are one of the Super Bowl, a slight Super Bowl favorite as well as the Bills are. And it's really, Lamar Jackson really has to get off to a good start and find a way to really throw off the Bills' defense. Now, the Bills, with the addition of Joey Boa, if he can stay healthy, the Bills' defense should be a little bit better this year. But a lot of it is going to be more on the offensive side for the Bills and Josh Allen and Cook and how well they can get that offense going. Because really, for both these two teams, it's put up or shut up time in the AFC for both these teams. This is going to be a very hard-fought football game, just like the Lions and the Packers will be. Expect a good game on Sunday night here. I'm leaning towards the Bills in this one here. I just think the Bills' offense and the way Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, they're mobile. They can get out of the pocket very easily here. And the running, even though the Ravens have a slightly better running game, but I just think the Bills' defense will find a way to get it done. I think they will cause problems for Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It's a 50-50 toss-up here. It's very hard to pick who wins this game here, but I'm leaning towards the Bills here. I think the Bills barely pull it out on Sunday night, and it would not surprise me if it's a low-scoring game, like a 17-14 type of game, or 20-17 type. It might. I don't think this game will crack more than 50 points. More than 50 points, not even 45. It should be a good Sunday night game, but I'm leaning towards the Bills in this one here to beat the Ravens on Sunday night. All right, everybody, that wraps up my 4 key game picks for week number 1. Please check the description below for all of my week 1 picks, and I will talk to you guys next week when I make my picks for week number 2. So everybody take care and enjoy this opening kickoff NFL weekend.